Correcting oneself is correcting the whole world. The sun is simply bright, it does not correct anyone. Because it shines, the whole world is full of light. Transforming yourself is a means of giving light to the whole world. A quote by Ramana Maharishi, born on December 30th, 1879, in a small village called Tiruchuri in Tamil Nadu, India. He is one of the spiritual luminaries who has left an indelible mark on the world. He showed that enlightenment isn't some far off, unreachable goal. Through his method of self inquiry, he revealed that the answer lies in turning inward and asking the most fundamental question: who am I? Hello, my name is Malati, and I'm your host on the show, the Impressive Empress podcast, the podcast that explores the inner journey of women in leadership. We focus on personal growth, creating meaningful impact, and empowering others to realize their full potential. In each episode, we dive into the values that shape extraordinary women leaders who lead from within, guided by purpose and a deep desire to serve while gracefully navigating both triumphs and challenges along the way. Today's episode is a journey of spreading love, light, and laughter in the world by our guest, Preethi Srinivasan. Preethi is a force of resilience, transformation, and purpose. Once a national level swimmer and the youngest player on the Tamil Nadu women's cricket team, her life took an unexpected turn when a freak accident left her paralyzed below the neck at the age of 18. Refusing to be defined by her limitations, she emerged as a powerful advocate for disability rights, inclusivity, and empowerment. Armed with a B.Sc in Medical Sociology and an M.Sc in Psychology from the University of Madras, she is currently pursuing a PhD at IIT Madras. As the founder of Soulfree, she is changing lives, breaking barriers, and redefining possibilities for people with disabilities. A TEDx speaker and a published author, she has been honored with the Kalpana Chawla Award for Courage and Daring Enterprise by the Government of Tamil Nadu, the Lifetime Achievement Award from Lions International, and many, many more. Having lost everything, Preethi has journeyed a full circle to become the cripple who is a whole, in her own words. In this conversation, we'll explore what it takes, Preethi, to spread love, light, and laughter. But do stay till the end to hear a very special Women's Day message. So please join me in welcoming Preethi Srinivasan to the Impressive Empress podcast. Namaskaram, Preethi. A very, very warm welcome to the Impressive Empress podcast, where we are talking to women leaders from various walks of life, trying to understand their inner journey. The journey that has been transformative, I believe, for many women. And we want you to look within and share your transformative journey, which had enabled you to upskill, downskill, reskill, whatever it is that takes to come to the position that you are, where you are able to shine the light to not just yourself, but to more people. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for giving me this wonderful opportunity and for having me.
Thank you, Preethi. I was reading up about you, and you were an athlete, an achiever, and a leader. You were a star kid before the freak accident at a very young age of 18, and your life just came to a standstill. You've shared that in the blink of an eye, you lost everything. You had forgotten what it was to be that athlete or the overachiever that you were. And fast forward to 2014, you founded Soulfree, an organization that focuses on empowering people with disabilities, especially those with the spinal cord injuries. and providing them with a platform for holistic development and support. Can you share what the moment was like when you realized that you needed to redefine your identity to become a change maker? Indeed, you are one through your Soulfree organization. What was it? What was the process like to embrace that woman in you after such a life changing, altering change? And how did that inner transformation begin to shape your life?
Yes, I don't think there is one moment. There are a series of events that happened, and over a period of time, it kind of remolds you into a completely new being. As you said, I started swimming at the age of 3. I was a state level gold medalist. I started playing cricket at the age of 4. By 8, I was in the senior Tamil Nadu squad. It's an award, a record that still stands. And at 17, I am the only person who has ever led Tamil Nadu to a national level victory in the Tamil Nadu under 19. Tamil Nadu has never won a national level tournament since or before that. So, yes, life was seemingly, I seem to excel in every aspect of life, in every facet of life. In school, I graduated at the top 2 percentile of the American student population. Everything, I'm an only child. I have been given a lot of love and care and attention by both sides of my family, and it seemed to be a very kind of, what can you say, entitled and privileged existence. But at the same time, when the accident happened, it really shattered not just me but my entire family. As you were saying, in a split second my entire sense of identity was lost. So I was not my body. I had been, training 6 7 hours a day. I was in a body that was almost Olympic level fit. So going from that extreme to the extreme that literally you are paralyzed below the neck and you have no sense or no function below the neck is something that is utterly impossible to really absorb. So definitely there has been a tremendous life altering condition that it sparked a lot of things, a lot of unlearning, a lot of relearning, as you say. I had to completely redefine myself, and it took a long time. At some point, when we came to know that spinal cord injury has no cure, and that I would have to spend the rest of my life, at least at that point, still there is no cure. I mean, it was a very harsh kind of revelation that that's it, nothing can be done, and you have to spend the rest of your life in a wheelchair. And there were times when I have seen other kids who would say that, it's been 8 years since my accident, it was 10 years since my accident, and I would say, "Oh, no way, I'm going to live that long." And now, more than 25 years later, I'm still here. So, no, it's not something to be very proud about, but it's what happened. So, especially in India, the quadriplegics, the people with high level injuries where the hands are also impaired, they don't live very long. The government of India has not recognized spinal cord injury as a specific multiple disability. There is no support system. There are hardly a handful of rehabilitation centers. Most of them are prohibitively expensive. There is no government insurance, government or non-government insurance for rehabilitation. So all these were very harsh learnings. Like couple of years after my accident, we tried to join college, and they told my father there are practical classes, there are no lifts, no ramps. Why do people like her want to study? We have a written letter of rejection from college for a person who was in the top 2 percentile of the entire American student population. So it really makes you judge yourself very harshly. My sense of self worth was lost. Actually, deep down inside, a person who has this kind of impairment is forced to believe that they are not worthy of love. Somewhere deepest inside me, I still believe that I'm not worthy of love, that unless I perform, unless I'm of value to this society, they will discard me in no time. And it may be seeming harsh, but it's the absolute truth, that it's very easy to just throw us out and behave like we don't exist, which is what happens for a person like me, for a woman with a spinal cord injury, for a woman with any disability. It's like we don't exist. We are not wanted anywhere. We are not wanted as a daughter. We are not wanted as a student. We are not wanted as an employee. We are definitely not wanted as a subject of love or of marriage or anything like that. So literally, there is an academic concept called rolelessness, which is what we are pushed into. Literally, there is no societally valued role that we can be accepted in. And this is what actually I'm trying to do when I'm studying. I'm doing my PhD now. I mean, all the fighting has brought me to a PhD at IIT Madras. And I'm trying to learn academically how to make ourselves heard. This completely invisible segment of society that I believe are the untouchables of India. And if you want one or two instances that literally became, they are etched in my heart. They are like scar tissue that every time I go back to it, it becomes a major point for me. One is that my father passed away overnight of a heart attack. At the age of 57, he died of a literally broken heart because he couldn't bear to see his daughter in this condition. 4 days after that, my mother had a heart attack. I had no source of income. I didn't know what was in the bank. I literally didn't know anything about how to run a household. I had an 80-year-old grandmother to take care of and nothing. And my mother needed bypass surgery. We didn't know what was in the bank. We didn't know how we would survive through. And there were so many questions I had literally no answers for. And at that point, when my father's friends came up to me and said, "This is a life threatening surgery that's going to undergo. What happens to you if there comes a time when your family is not around to care for you?" And I had no answer. And I Googled it and I found that across India, there is not one place I can go and live with dignity and die with dignity, even if I can pay for a woman in my condition. So that's when I was literally shaken once more, And my mother very coolly, she said, "You be the change. I have faith in you. You do something." And I said, "No way. I don't know anything about the law. I don't know anything about running an organization. I can't do it." I was afraid. But within 3 months, I came to know that two paralyzed girls who were paraplegics, they were paralyzed below the waist, but they could move their hands, they could cook, they could clean, they could do a lot of productive things in the household. But they were told that they are a shame, a burden, and a curse on the family, that because they exist, nobody is willing to marry their brother. So they basically said, "Do us a favor." And they left poison next to them and they drank it and died. And when I came to know about this, I was literally, it was like somebody had slapped me. And I said, because I'm afraid to speak out, if I'm not going to do something now, I'll be part of the problem. And that is how Soulfree got started, not out of any personal ambition or anything like that, but out of dire need.
To listen to you itself, it's so devastating, the journey that you have gone through after your freak accident. But it shows a lot of resilience in you, like over the last 10, 12 years since you started Soul Free. You've also taken up a lot of leadership roles, from being an advocate for the people who are injured and are disabled, like the ones you described, and also being, you were a cricket player and you've also been a representative of the women's cricket in ICA. You're also TNCA Apex Council, you're also a member there. How do you prepare yourself for these significant responsibilities? I think your education, even in spite of getting such rejection letters, something that would put a normal person down, you seem to have pulled yourself up. Like you have also mentioned, preparation is key to living purposefully. What kept you going in all these moments of uncertainty? And how did this pursuit of education play a role in shaping your leadership style?
I think definitely sports has had a very big role to play in my upbringing and in what my value system is today. And sports teaches you to fight. So never give up is an attitude that you have to have if you're a sports person. So they always say, no, it's not over till the last ball is bowled. So that's how it has always been. And I have, maybe because of sport or maybe because of who I am, because of the way my parents brought me up, I have never expected life to be easy. From a very young age, my ultimate goal was to become a blank slate. So from a very young age, I never had much of materialistic ambition. So although I played cricket, although I swam, although I studied well and everything seemed to fall in place for me, it was not out of ambition. It was just because I wanted to make my parents happy. But apart from that, I was always kind of okay with anything, going with the flow kind of person. But of course, after the accident happened, there was a lot of soul searching, there's a lot of introspection that happened, because at the age of 18 I did not have the maturity to face what happened to me. And I became very angry. I fought with God, I fought with my parents, I gave them a lot of hell, because I was like, how can this happen to me? The why me syndrome that
Right.
we all go through, that I have worked hard all my life, I never lied, I never did anything bad to anyone, why should this happen to me, was something that ate me. Thankfully my parents brought me to our spiritual roots. Back we came to Tiruvannamalai, and under the guru's leading direction, I was taught step by step that what happened to me was the fulfillment of my true life's goal, which was to become a blank slate, which was not to keep on writing on the slate, but actually to lead a life that was bigger than me, that was meant to be an instrument and serve a greater purpose, a community that needs to be seen. And I can only truly represent them if I was one of them. When you start to see that what you think is the greatest tragedy or the greatest injustice that happened in your life is actually the greatest blessing, then life becomes very simple. When there is surrender, life is simple. When you know that the only thing that can happen in your life is what's best for you. Like now I cannot see the dark cloud at all. I can only see the silver lining always. So if there is a challenge, I'm up for it, because that means I'm doing something right. Like Swami Vivekananda said, if you don't find an obstacle on your path, then you're not on the right path. Even when I receive some awards, and I'm really grateful for them, not so much for myself, but it gives me a platform to speak about this invisible community that I represent. And, even my mother has sometimes told me, it should not go into your head. I bless you that this should not somehow get into your head. And I always say, every day the cosmos wipes the floor with my, mops the floor with my ego. So no way it can get into my head, because I literally know I'm not this body. I literally know I can't move a little finger. That unless there is the grace of God, unless the divine is working through you, there is nothing really worthwhile that can happen in this lifetime. So ultimately, it's the spiritual roots that, unless you get in touch with yourself, unless you learn who you are and what is meant to happen in this lifetime, there cannot be much clarity in what happens. And I feel really, truly blessed that, I have been given that opportunity to live a lifetime that is bigger than myself.
Wonderful. You have really turned around the table for you by saying, amidst this mishap, I found everything. So I lost everything, but I found myself in the process, is what you had said in an earlier interview. And I loved the way you said, God is mopping, the cosmos is mop. Can you please repeat it again? The
Yeah, the
cosmos
cosmos
is
mops the
mopping.
floor with my ego every day.
Wonderful. Such a profound statement there, Preeti. And I really love that cute smile on your face when you share such things. I think it's very inspiring to coming from you. It's very, very inspiring. Now, I mean, we all go through some inner transformations when we have some life-altering experiences in our lives that challenges our beliefs, our value systems, and our thought processes itself. In your case, it's been a complete transformation from physically what you were thinking of, and to what you are now, and what you have set yourself to do in all these years. And You've also shared that you have a unique perspective of life, and you have also mentioned that we need to look at life using a different lens. Can you share something about that, please? And how does that help you talk to others or convince others across Soulfree or people who get in touch with Soulfree?
Let me ask you, do you wear glasses?
Sometimes, yes. When I have to read or when I have to drive, yes.
Yes, but do you consider yourself disabled?
It's no longer the same, right? But yes, according to the law, I'm not classified as categorized as a disabled person. But yes, the feeling is there, right? I cannot see or read things the way I used to.
Yes. So wearing glasses means you have some level of visual impairment. Otherwise, you
Exactly.
wouldn't need it. So whether it's a 1% impairment or a 90% impairment, it's just a matter of degree. We are all born impaired. We are all born disabled, are we not? When you were born, for
Absolutely.
the first 4 years, could you walk? Could you talk? Could you, control your bowel and bladder movements? No. And towards the end, again, we are going to go back to that. So disability is actually universal. There is not, I can write and guarantee to you that there is not one person in the world who was ever born who is not going to be disabled at least one day of their life. So then why can't we be a little more tolerant towards people who are currently impaired? If they are expected to not be impaired but they have an impairment, so what? As a society, should we not look at universal inclusion so that at any point, even if I am going to have that trouble, it's going to be including me? Instead of looking at reasons why we should ostracize people and stigmatize them and hate them for being different, if we can just look for reasons why we are so similar. If I should suddenly start talking in Tamil or Hindi or Japanese, many of our audience might not be able to understand. They would become linguistically challenged, right? And that's all it takes. Nobody knows everything. Nobody has everything. Nobody is going to be 100% perfect all the time. It's just not possible. So, why can't we accept people as they are, as flawed as they may be? And try to include them because they are human and their value as a human is inherent. I don't need to do something and prove something over and over again to be valued as a human being, which is what I am today. Right? So that, if we can, that is a very deeply held discriminatory practice that we are deeply conditioned to follow very closely. If we look very closely, we may think that no, I look at everyone the same. But then it can be color, it can be ability, it can be gender, it can be sexuality, it can be any number of things. Moment they don't fit into our expectation, we kind of want to, behave like they don't exist. So this is one way we can change our perspective if we look at everyone as ourselves. What if I were in that position? How would I like to be treated? That's one. And the second is, do you play any video games or any sport?
I used to. Yeah. I used to
Okay.
play basketball and badminton. Yeah.
Right. Did you always want to be a beginner in it?
No, we always
No.
want to progress,
Yes, the
go to the next level.
human pursuit and our natural tendency is to try to excel. Whatever we do, whether it's, immediately we want to do the best, we want to be the best at it, right? Except in life, like for video games, we want to be excelling at the highest level of difficulty, level 5, level 6, and in that I want the highest marks or whatever it is, so that under the highest levels of difficulty I still excel. like the Navy SEALs or armed forces. They push their body to such limits under the most painful, under the most difficult conditions. Why? They can quit and sit at home and watch Netflix. Why? Because we want to excel in the most difficult conditions, but we don't want to do that in life. In life, we want it to be smooth sailing. We don't want anything outside our comfort zone. And this is what we teach our children also. You follow these things so that life will be exactly the way we plotted out for you. Nothing should be difficult for you. So this is something that I really don't understand. Um, it's not, that doesn't mean you go and push yourself into risky conditions and do things that are, counterproductive and harmful to yourself. But then should it not be that if life throws you a curveball, that you use it to improve yourself? Because truly, I believe that in these last 25 years, I have grown more than I could have imagined in 25 so called normal lifetimes, where I go to this school, go to this college, marry this person, have X number of kids, and do the same thing over again. Literally, I want out of this cycle. I don't want to come here even once for any reason at all. There is not a single thing this manifest material existence can give me that I want. I don't want any special food. I don't want jewelry. I don't want clothes. I don't want relationships. Nothing will last. Zero things will last. The same person, the same qualities in the same person that you used to love will be the same things that irritate you. So you are changing and that person is changing, and how you expect everything to remain the same, I have no idea. So I don't want to get into that. So this is my perspective of life. Is my perspective is, when I pray, when I go to pray, I always tell God, if there is such a thing as free will, I give it up. I don't want free will. I don't know what's good for me. 5 minutes later, I will want something else. So I don't want, you decide what is best for me, and I surrender to you, and I will serve as your instrument. And the only thing I want is liberation. Only thing is, I want out. I want freedom from this cycle. Whether you believe in rebirth or not, whether whatever it is you believe in, the one thing you must believe that I tell you is, nothing will last. So if you want out of this seesaw of, I got what I wanted and I'm happy today. Like, if you want to be a doctor, I'm an MBBS. By the time I receive my award itself, I'm trying to join MD. I'm never permanently joyful about anything. My happiness is temporary at best, or it's hollow. I reach there and I'm like, this is what I thought I would get. Ayyo, it sucks. So it's like that. Anyway, it's going to leave you high and dry. So why not seek something that will not change, that is not transient? And the only thing worthwhile then is knowing yourself, is knowing your true nature, that is beyond what was born and beyond what is going to die. And the only true thing that you can take is what you can take with you if you are not alive, because nobody is going to live forever. This is my perspective of life.
Absolutely adorable. I think you've reached the right place in your life. I think you've been very, very lucky to have gone to Tiruvannamalai, taken the guidance of all your gurus, and also the human mind is very funny sometimes. Even though it sees what's good in front of it, it chooses the bad, like Duryodhana did. But you have been very lucky in that sense, at least, that you have been able to, you have allowed yourself to be guided by all the spirituality that you came across, and it has really molded you as a person. And I'm so happy to hear this from you, and all that you have achieved in life and all that you are going to achieve in life is all thanks to this inner strength, this spiritual strength that you embody. Can you share, or what is the biggest lesson that you have learned about resilience and living a life of purpose? How can other women apply that lesson to their own journeys towards transformation and attain sustainable success?
One thing I want to say is we all want to be in control, and we feel that if we work hard enough, we can control things. And control is the biggest illusion on the planet. Maya is the hardest working goddess of them all. We don't have control over squat. That doesn't mean that we don't try. We can have goals, we can have short term goals, we can have long term goals, we will prepare, we will do our best to manifest things in the best way possible. But that doesn't mean that we become rigid. When things flow, when things change, when things don't work out the way we want, then we should have the presence of mind. We should have the humility to say, okay, God, this is what is best for me now. Then how do I make the best of what is here and now? Because only what is here and now is true. I'm again going to go to a cricket analogy and say, yesterday you made a century, today you still start at zero. Today is all there is. You can't live in the laurels of your past. It doesn't matter how great you were. What are you today? And whatever is in the future hasn't happened yet. So you can't take credit for that. My greatest lesson is that I know I can't move a little finger. So I tell people, if you don't believe in God, then you come and see this body. And then you go to our Soulfree Inspire Center, which is India's first integrated spinal rehabilitation center. It's a nearly 50 bedded center that is supporting people with spinal cord injury who are facing permanent paralysis after a life altering spinal cord injury. And they are farmers who fall from trees, carpenters who are working from heights. There is no proper implementation of the laws. So, what happens is that people fall and then they are just left at home. There is no insurance for them, no rehabilitation, they are just left to die. And these people need hope, they need a chance to be re-engineered so that they can relearn the skills they need to become productive and to lead dignified lives. So that is what the Soul Free Inspire Center is doing. It is trying to optimize and their self-reliance from physiological, psychological, and socio-economic perspective. And we have employed a totally unique, holistic framework that is experiential. 25 years of this body's experience has gone into making what the center is. And it's a 20,000 square feet residential facility where people come and live there for a period of 5 to 6 months. They come with their caregiver, and everything, including food, is given to them free of cost. So these people are people living below the line of poverty. They have nowhere to go. They have been discarded by everyone. And they come to us, and we are the only hope for them. And what we do is we transform them from a caterpillar to a butterfly, from so called disabled to positively able people who can return and be reintegrated into society as respectable earning members. So the work speaks for itself. And then if they're able to see this body, and if they see that center, and if they can give me a reasonable logical reason as to how this body can do that without the grace of the divine, without a greater force at work, then we'll have an argument, a real argument, because I know it's not possible. So, whatever women are doing, yes, they need to plan, but also they need to have faith in the divine that whatever comes, It might seem like a setback, it might seem like a challenge, it might seem like failure, but it's not. 10 years from now, you will know that it's the best thing that happened to you. Give it time. If not 10 years, 20 years. But at least don't take it hard. Don't take it negatively. Don't let it break you. Keep fighting. Keep moving. Because it's the only way. Stagnation is the same as death. I always tell our people who come here, they have lost everything, including the functionality of their own bodies. They come to me broken, bedridden for years with holes in their bodies, worms in their bed sores. And I tell them nothing is actually wrong with you. Your body is not diseased. It's a condition. Your brain is fine, your body is fine. Just some networking problem is there. Whatever your brain is saying, it's not reaching your body. I will train you. You can go back to working. You can go back to earning for your family. You can take care of them. So all I ask from them is 4 things. First, I tell them the only ask I have is for you to go out there and lead a victorious, successful life, take care of your family, be happy. That's the only expectation I have. And the way to fulfill that is 4 things. In Tamil, we call it olukam or integrity. Integrity, discipline, whatever you want to call it. Lead a life where you speak and live the truth, where things are not compartmentalized, where your thought, your words, and your action are in alignment. If you switch on the fan or light and your work in that room is over, switch it off. Starting from that level where you don't abuse resources, to what you say, to not spreading toxic things in your environment, to spread love, light, and laughter around you. So integrity is one of them. Uraipu, effort. I tell them rehabilitation is not easy. Any success in anything is not easy. You have to work. This whole idea about smart work, I don't believe in. I believe in good old-fashioned hard work. I believe smart work is a dead end and a blind end. I think that is not probably correct, but definitely a dead end. We don't want to use words like blind end, but anyway. So that effort has to be one that is wholehearted. You put everything you have into it. And if you keep doing that, then nothing will stop you from succeeding. So, ஒழுக்கம், உழைப்பு, விடாமுயற்சி and தன்னம்பிக்கை. விடாமுயற்சி is perseverance. Effort cannot be done for a day and then you expect everything to come your way. It has to continue. You do it long enough, you'll get what you want. Perseverance and self-confidence. You have to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody will believe in you. If you don't love yourself, you can't expect anybody else to love you. So at the very foundation, I believe that if these 4 qualities are imbibed and people start living by them, there is no way they cannot succeed. And one more final thing I want to say is the cosmos or God or whatever you want to call it, the greater force that controls the cosmos, it will give you exactly what you want. Literally what you asked for, you will get. Whether it's a woman, whether it's $1 billion, whether it's power, influence, wine, whatever it is that you ask for, you will get it. If you ask with real conviction in that desire, the desire will be fulfilled. But the desire cosmically always has a price. And most of the time when the price comes, if you want to buy a t-shirt, you have to pay for it, right? At that point, we don't say, oh, only when you pay for it, you will get it. So when you get what you want, then you have to be able to embrace the price. In life, it's reverse. Most of the time, you get what you want and later only you pay the price. So once we've got what we want, then we don't want to pay the price. God is not very business-like in that way. The price is not told to you ahead of time. but there will be a price. And I'm telling you that please be ready for the price, and it will not come the way you expect it to. But if you see the price for what it is, it will be a very small price to pay for what you asked for. Because finally, it's what you asked for that you're getting. I asked to become a blank slate, and my mind is a blank slate. It's so clean, it's so clear. The decisions are so effortless. The joy, the contentment, the peace of mind is here and now. For this, if the price is a broken body, I feel it's a small price to pay. It's a small price to pay, because had I been completely fit, I had to have gotten married. I had to have gotten some kind of social pressure will be there to do certain things. But now I'm free of it. I don't have to follow any of society's rules and regulations. I can live and be true to myself here and now, fully alive. And I've had two near death experiences. So I can say that today, in this moment, if death should come, I will go very happily, totally self fulfilled. There is nothing I need to be, there is nothing I want. One of the questions you had asked was, what is true success? And I believe this to be the true success is not the person who has everything. The person who has everything is afraid because they have everything to lose. But the person who needs nothing, these are my role models. Ramana Maharishi, Yogi Ram Surat Kumar, who lived as beggars but were the kings of the cosmos. They were beyond manifest material life. And the world and people came and fell at their feet. And they owned nothing. They kept nothing for themselves. And that is true success to me. These are my role models. And this is, I mean, I know I'm nothing, but at least the pursuit, at least I can try in this lifetime to achieve that which I know is already in me. That divine is alive in me, and all I need to do is unlearn enough for that to shine through. At least I'm not sleepwalking through life. At least there is a genuine attempt to do that, and I'm okay with that.
I mean, I don't have words. This is so amazing, Preeti. The grit and the courage that you have built. Again, I think the foundation is the spiritual strength. And this is just so amazing. We live in a very interesting times. On the one hand, we have a lot of youth also wanting to know a lot about spirituality. On the other side, we have a lot of people who are chasing the material pursuits and the success there. We talk about the glass ceilings. With all able bodies, we are still not able to achieve whatever we want to achieve. But here you are, paraplegic, and but doing such an amazing thing. Sorry?
Quadriplegic, they call it. People who all four
Quadriplegic.
limbs are impaired. Yes.
Oh, thank you so much. You did mention that you were a star wherever you went in your earlier life, but you were a star in the material world, but now you are shining light in the on the lives of so many people. Thank you so much, Preeti, for the wonderful work that you are doing. But I do have a question about success. I also wanted to touch upon this near death experiences. Maybe briefly, if you can share about it, and then we can move to success.
Yeah, so I have had two near-death experiences. One in 2001, I was undergoing some homeopathy treatment, and one day when I came back home, I had trouble breathing. So then when I got into bed, I was fine. So as long as I was horizontal, I was fine. I could breathe, I could eat and all that. But the moment I became vertical, that is, if I should sit, then my started choking and my body started turning blue. And literally, I could see my thighs becoming blue and I could not breathe at all. So almost a month or two, I stayed in the horizontal position. I couldn't sit in the wheelchair. I couldn't have a bath. I even ate lying down. And it was horrible. And my father was really, it scared him in a way that he couldn't explain words. So he would keep saying, this is not okay, you have to sit, your metabolism will change, blah blah and all. Then I was like, Appa, I can't breathe if I sit. I need to be able to breathe to be able to do anything. And then once, my mother got so, I mean, she got so vexed that even the sheets were not clean. So she said she will transfer me into the bed, into the wheelchair for a few minutes so that she could clean up the sheets and she could change new sheets. And they were always crumpled and all those things because I couldn't get out of the bed. So she transferred me and immediately I could not breathe. I went to the side, I tried to breathe, but I was choking. So I told her, Amma, it's not working. So she said, let me just at least clean out the sheets and I'll put you back. But by the time she turned, I was gone. I lost consciousness. And actually what I remember was I was in the back and in on top of the room, like on the ceiling, the end of the room, and I didn't have eyes but I could see, I didn't have ears but I could hear. And my grandmother, my mother's mother, was a great devotee of the Parmacharyas of Kanchipuram, the Shankaracharya, the 68th Shankaracharya of Kanchipuram. And he had given her a photograph of his own that he had done puja to. It is still my greatest wealth. I have it. And so she brought it and she was having it against her chest, and they were both crying because they thought I was dead. And somehow from the top of the room, I saw that photograph next to my knee. It was never next to my knee, it was against my grandmother's chest. But I could focus on that photograph. I could see my body from the top, with my knees like this, in like a lotus position kind of, but lying down. I saw that photograph next to my knee, and the next thing I knew, I was back in my body. So suddenly I got up and I said, Ma, how did I get into bed? Because last thing I consciously knew, I was in the wheelchair. And my mother said, no, no, nothing happened. I just got you into bed. And later they had a doctor check me out and all my vitals were normal. Later my mother told me that I went like this, like thumbs up kind of sign. And I said, Yogi Ram Surat Kumar, I won. Yogi Ram Sarat Kumar is the name of our guru. So when she said that, I tried to see, is my hand moving? Is my leg moving? Did I win anything? So apparently it was not the movement of my body that I had won. But from that day, I could sit again and I could have a bath and I could go to the ashram. So I think I had won a second chance at life, or I don't know what. But the doctor, we asked them later that this had happened like this, and they said maybe there was some blockage in your artery that was stopping oxygenated blood from going into your body. And then how did it go away? They said that that block must have melted on its own or something like that. So at any rate, oxygenated blood was not going to my body at one point, and after the near-death experiences, things were okay again. That is, I mean, miracles like that keep happening in Tiruvannamalai. There, I can spend hours and hours talking about the greatness of this extraordinary place that I say only pretends to be on earth. It's actually a parallel realm. So Tiruvannamalai is just, it's out of the world, to be honest. And in the second near-death experience, it actually happened 2 days before the 10th anniversary of my accident. So my accident happened on July 1998. So somehow around that time, I always used to get afraid that something would happen. Every year I had some fear, and I guess that fear itself made some things bad happen. But I get spasticity. Like sometimes my legs just kick uncontrollably, and then I can't breathe because all my muscles contract to 100%. But that day, I think it was very hot, and I drank like cold kombucha my mother gave me. So I drank a lot of it, and my stomach was full or whatever. When the spasticity came, for some weird reason, that day the spasm went into my lungs. So the lungs became like that, they became like vacuum. The more I tried to breathe, the stronger they were getting stuck together. So I was like trying to breathe and it didn't happen. And I told my mother, Ma, I'm dying. And literally, see, all my life after my accident has been spent in fear. Like even when the car would go, I would be afraid because literally it's logical fear that I can't hold. If there is even a strong brake, I'll fall unless I'm tied. So I was literally afraid of many things. And one of my greatest fear was that if my parents are not around to protect me, what would happen? People might take me and throw me into a forest and I would get eaten up or something like that. These are the fears, and it's not entirely illogical, that fear that they would forcibly take my thumbprint and throw me out somewhere. It's very logical, and given the way the world is, it's not so unheard of. These things are happening day in and day out. So this was my greatest fear, and somehow during that near death experience, I was able to get out of that. The body's death throes. The body was literally like a fish, like really struggling for breath and dying. And there was a part of me that was able to see it, and that was really not moved by any of it. It was just there. Was able to witness the body's death. And I was gone for 8 minutes that time. This time there was no out of body experience, no light, no nothing. I was gone. And then I heard somebody crying out. My mother was screaming my guru's name. I heard it very far away. But the moment when you go like that, when you're focusing on something, then it dragged me back, and then I was in my body, and then I found my grandmother beating on my heart like dum 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 dum, trying to be, and I was like, Party, I'm back, I'm back, stop beating me. So that was my second near death experience. Physically it brought a lot of fear. That after that almost 6 months I wouldn't let my mother out of the room because I was afraid I would die. But over a period of time, it has freed me from all the other fears that I had, because literally I've already been there. Dying is not so difficult. So you can go and come back. And I keep trying to go, and he keeps trying to push me. So now I've made a deal that if you want this body to work for you, you take care of it. So I don't take any medicines, I don't go to any doctors, and I don't need to be afraid of anything because I'm loved and taken care of and protected by God.
I mean, I just have no words. I am, the way you talk is at the end of it, you just make it like a funny story. It is, I mean, to have been there with you in that room for your mother, I think she deserves a big applause. I think at her age, seeing her daughter like that time and time again is just not easy. One courageous woman you have as a mother. I think she also must be very rooted, deeply rooted into spirituality. I think we can definitely talk more about it maybe sometime later, Preeti, but I would like to focus on the success that you have built for yourself. I always say success has to be sustainable. All the name, fame, money, power, authority is all in this realm, and it goes with you. You have built something that's already created a huge impact, and it's going to go beyond your lifetime. What are some of the steps that you are taking to ensure that this, especially the disability advocacy, that is going to continue even beyond you or anybody else?
Yes, I don't believe soul free is mine. I believe soul free is a way of life, and that it will definitely live much beyond me. We are taking every step to do that. Soul free's initial programs were all outreach programs because we did not have any infrastructure to support. So, what we were doing is whatever they could do to improve, whatever we could do to improve their quality of life. We could give them wheelchairs, hospital beds, air beds, medical support, uh, and financing for some educational thing to make them, or self-help, or even independent living, some kind of small business setup we could do for them. All that we were doing, and we are continuing to do. We give them a gift box with all their medical requirements for the entire year. So all that we were doing, but then we found that again, at some point, they don't know how to live and work in the new body. The smallest setback and they go back to bed. So that is why we started the Soulfree Inspire Center. It's India's first integrated spinal rehabilitation center. It was inaugurated by the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu on December 3rd, which is World Disability Day 2021. It's more than 3 years old now. More than 300 people we have been able to transform their lives and help them go back to becoming fully self reliant. But again, this is not enough. Like the lower level injuries, people who are almost walking with calipers, they can drive cars or retrofitted scooters, and they're mobile and they are able to take care of themselves. We are able to set up some kind of business or some kind of way in which they can be financially self sustaining. But the higher level injuries like mine, where we are literally dependent on others for our body's most intimate needs, life becomes much more precarious. If we don't have caregivers, it's a problem. If we are not able to earn money, it's a problem, because I keep them for 9 months, put my heart and soul into making them as self reliant as they can be, and then we send them home. And then the wife leaves them, or the mother passes away, and then they don't even live for months. 9 months we keep them, 9 months later we find out that they are dead. And each of these I take as a personal failure. Their lives, their well-being is my only success. I'm not doing anything for anything other than that. If they live happily, then I'm happy. So the next project that we are working on is something we're calling Soul Voice. Soul Voice will provide voice based jobs for people who are quadriplegics, who cannot use their hands and need to work with their voice. So, as call center operators, BPO operators, they can buy and sell tickets online. They can do a lot of things if they are given the proper training, and that training then becomes employability for them. So this is our next future project. And the other one, as I was saying, is caregivers. India doesn't have a professional pool of caregivers. I'm told that dementia is growing by 350% in India. Our numbers are huge. We are not getting sensitized, trained caregivers. Many of them are prohibitively expensive, and they are ill trained and uncouth and bordering on abusive sometimes, if not neglectful. So, um, we want to build a workforce of people from marginalized segments of society, like the children of prisoners who are not getting work, LGBT community people who are not getting dignified work, women who are sold into the body trade, acid attack survivors, many people who are under 25. 25% of India is under 25, and yet many of them are considered unemployable. Rural youth who actually get into engineering and other courses, but they are not able to complete them because they have to switch languages. They really struggle, and then they are forced to drop out. So many of them are becoming very angry with the world again, and dropping out, getting into drugs and alcohol. So we want to take all these people, help them become sensitized, and train them to become personal care assistants or personal care attendants. It will be a certification course. It will be probably about 9 months or a year. And then they will then become our caregivers. We will bridge the gap between people who need to be needed and people who really need help. That is our next project. So Soul Voice and Soul Care are very close to my heart. I believe that they can tremendously positively impact Indian society, if not the world. Any help, any people who are listening who can help me make this happen, because I have a lot of constraints. I'm not a real professional. I'm not truly in the workforce. I can use all the help I can get. So apart from this, the final and most important goal of Soulfree, the vision was that nobody should be forced to commit suicide because of a condition they have no control over. So if our family is not there to care for us, in India, there is nowhere to go. We are 1/6 of the world's population. There should be a place I can go and live with dignity. So this is also part of the UN's, sustainability goals and all that, that no one is left behind. But we are leaving everyone behind. So we want to create something called the Soulfree Shambhala village, where we can go and live and work and die with dignity, where, it will not be just a kind of a palliative center where we'll go and wait to die, but we will employ people who are wheelchair users, and they will be able to live with pride and joy and togetherness. And in the Japanese concept of kintsugi, they take how we may be broken as we are, but what they do is take old vases that are broken, and then they melt them together with molten gold, and then it becomes an individual piece of art that's unique and beautiful and much more valuable because it got broken in the first place. So I do believe that many of us may be broken individually, but together we may create something that's much bigger and much greater than the sum of our parts. And this is Soulfree's true vision, that we are all valuable human beings, and if we get together, we can create something great. So these are some things that we are working on, and we believe that it will stand the test of time. And as long as there is some segment of society that is invisible, that is being marginalized, that is being stigmatized, I believe Soul Free will be a voice to protect them. And that is how I think of myself, that I will always be that, and in that we will live.
Great work and even greater vision for the marginalized communities, Preeti. For the audience, I would just like to share what Soulfree is all about. I think currently their website is undergoing some changes. So Soulfree is a public charitable trust registered in India, and they have been active for the last decade. It was started in 2014, and the organization aims to improve the quality of life of people living with severe disabilities, such as spinal cord injury. Please feel free. They are available to take care of you, and they are also providing rehabilitation, and now not just rehabilitation, also empowering such persons to find a way of financial independence. All the
Actually, at
people.
the moment, we are only supporting persons with spinal cord injury,
Okay.
because nobody, very few working in the area of spinal cord injury, because it creates pretty much a permanent condition. So at the moment, we are concentrating on persons with spinal cord injury, but our end vision, for example, our soul voice will take on anybody with hand impairments. So we are not always going to concentrate only on spinal cord injury, but the Soul Free Inspire Center per se, it's an integrated spinal rehabilitation center for persons with spinal cord injury.
So I request all the audience, whoever is listening, to support Preeti in her work. And this is definitely going to benefit humanity. And I love the beautiful analogy of the Japanese ways. Can you please repeat that word again?
Kintsugi.
Sugi. Next to ikigai, this is a very beautiful word that I have learned today. And it's we can just go on and on, Preeti. You have such inspiring journey. More than that, your communication is amazing. You're doing a wonderful job. But as I always say, all good things do have to come to an end. And I would like to wrap it up with some rapid fire questions. More because I want to see that lovely smile on the face. Are you ready?
Ready.
Thank you. So, what's the one thing that always brings a smile to your face?
My mother's smile.
Beautiful. If you could instantly master one skill, what would it be?
Self knowledge, Atma Vidya, that's the only thing I ever wanted.
What's your favorite app or tool that you use for work?
WhatsApp a lot. Much work, many documents and all that go on WhatsApp, and Telegram also I use.
Mhm. If you could give only one piece of leadership
Say,
advice to women?
One
Sorry?
more, it's not an app, it's a software. All my work is done using a speech activation software. As you can see, I cannot type. And I often say I don't understand why people bother with their hands and fingers anymore, because voice activation is so good. It's fast, it's accurate. Like I'm talking, the way I'm able to speak now like this, because I'm used to speaking to my dragon. I use a dragon naturally speaking software, and I'm doing my PhD using the speech activation software. So these kind of lifestyle aids, or they improve our quality of life in such a big way. Without my speech activation software, I would not be as productive as I am today. So whoever is making them, I was motivated by this. Who wants to do that more? Please do it, because it really improves my life.
Absolutely. If there is one piece of leadership advice, only one piece of leadership advice that you would like to share with the women out there, what would it be?
Empathize more. Uh, because whoever is working for us, they really want to help, they really want to do well. But if they are not, I know it can be really frustrating, because every day I face it. But somehow we have to try to put ourselves in their shoes, somehow find the patience to explain again and again and again our perspective, because they don't get it. I feel I'm from another planet every day, because I expect people to get it, right? But they don't. And actually, that's wrong. That's ego there. We need to be able to somehow say that, okay, they want this job, they want to do well. But if they're still not doing it, then something is wrong with our communication. You said my communication is great, right? It fails every day, because I am not able to explain the simplest things to the nurses who come to help me. And I can tell you, if you have a scratch on your, skin somewhere on your nose, explaining where it is with words is perhaps one of the greatest and most difficult skills, because you will say somewhere and they are scratching somewhere, and it's really frustrating. It seems simple, but it's not. And
It's not. It's
it's
not really.
it's really, it tests you every day. So yes, if you are an entrepreneur, you are in a leadership position, there will be very frustrating times. But somehow you cannot kill the hope, you cannot kill that want. At some point, if you put them down, they will give up. You cannot do that. If you want them to do better, we have to somehow take a step back and say, okay, how can I reach them? And maybe this communication skill that really works in certain circles doesn't work in every circle. And that's not their problem. It's yours, and you have to find a way. And somehow you have to understand that after all that, your ego is still acting up, and you have to be humble. You have to find a way to empathize and understand that for them it's just a job. They don't have passion, they have children at home, they have pressures from the household, and they are coming with all those to work for you. And you have to find a way to make that job empowering for them. And that can be a challenge. I think that's perhaps the greatest challenge. And empathy, whether it's for the client or for the employee or for people in your family in general, I feel is perhaps the single most important thing that you can take with you. If it can be bottled and sold, then the person who sells it will be a gazillionaire.
Lovely. What's your special message for the women out there on this Women's Day?
I think the power of women is the greatest untapped force on the planet. For a large segment of the world, the women are still subservient. They are still feeling that they are dependent on the men. And I want to say that it's actually the other way around. It's time for us to wake up and understand that without us, nothing is going to move. We are the Shakti, we are the movement, we are the power of growth and nutrition and nurturing across the world. And we need to stand up for ourselves. There is no need to sacrifice in such a way that we destroy ourselves, because that is not going to help the next generation. The next generation has to understand, the men have to understand that the women are partners, they are not slaves. And we need to make our boys understand that. I think many mothers are absolutely wrong because they create, I mean, really chauvinistic men sometimes. And it's the mother's fault. And so I really feel it's tremendously important for women to understand their power and to mold society and mold the next generation in a way that it actually imbibes equality in a way that is not killing each other. We are not competing with each other. We are sharing. Unless we are a team, it's not going to work. If we are killing each other, if we are fighting each other, it's not going to work. So I really believe that it's the woman that has the strength to make the world a better place. And one, we need to stand up for ourselves. Two is, at some point we need to understand that the patriarchy that is coming is perhaps not all the men's mistake, that we are as much party to it as they are. So
Yeah.
that change needs to happen. And one message I would like to share to everyone, not just men or women or anybody, even the youngsters, that life is not all about the things we cannot do. We should not be focusing on all the things we cannot do, but what we choose to do with what we can do. I mean, I'm an example of that. Literally nothing I can do, apparently. But this broken body is running an organization. We are employing 50 people. We are supporting more than 3,000 families of people who have been discarded. What is the impact you are making in your day-to-day life?
Such a profound question. I thought I was here to ask you questions, and you're leaving us with such a profound, valuable life question that each one of us should ask ourselves, Preeti. Thank you so much for being such an inspiration. My salutations to you. Continue to spread the love, the light, and the laughter. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I feel that this is the way I can fulfill my highest potential, and I feel blessed to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening. Bye bye.
Bye.
Wow, what a powerful journey we've just walked through with Preeti. One of resilience, transformation, and purpose. Through every challenge, she continues to spread love, light, and laughter, turning adversity into impact. If this conversation moved you, take that energy and turn it into action. Whether it's shifting your perspective, stepping up for a cause, or embracing yourself more fully, the journey of transformation never ends. It only evolves. Thank you for joining me on the Impressive Empress podcast. As I sign off, let's celebrate the limitless potential of people with disability. Stay tuned for more such meaningful conversations by subscribing to the Impressive Empress podcast on your favorite podcast platforms such as Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, YouTube, and more. And do show your love with your follows, likes, subscribes, and shares. Got a question you want me to ask our next guest? Do write to me at empress at Bhogya.online. That's EMPRESS at BHOGYA.online. Until the next time, do remember your journey is unique and every step brings you closer to that power within. Signing off, this is Malati, and this is the Impressive Empress podcast.